Hello friends, I've been getting asked a lot about who the villain of the new Witcher game might be. At first I kept pushing the question aside, thinking I'd give it some thought later, mainly because there weren't any real clues, not even the tiniest hint, no visual Easter egg, nothing hidden in a trailer, so I didn't want to talk about it without at least a thread to pull on. It's easy to throw around wild theories, but doing it without a single clue, that's never been my style and it won't be in the future either. But hey, with so many of you asking, especially when some of you are invoking the old Witcher's name, I just couldn't say no. So in this video, we're diving into one of the most burning questions. Who could be the main villain in Witcher 4? Grab your swords, friends. We're going to war. Let me start with one of the weirdest but most exciting possibilities, the one I already made a short about. What if the main villain is a Witcher? I don't mean someone like Letho or Berengar who occasionally gives us trouble in the first game, or even those random witches we can kill off in side quests in the third game. No, I want you to imagine a much more powerful Witcher. Got it? Good. Now let's raise the stakes and go back in time. Some of you might remember Elven from the first game. I never made a full video about him, but I've talked about him plenty during streams. Elven is what's known as a source, someone born with immense magical power but unable to control it properly. These powers usually surface in moments of extreme panic, and when they do, they cause utter chaos. Think of Ciri's scream after Vesemir dies. That's the kind of uncontrollable magic I'm talking about. Elven at one point uses such magic, not to destroy everything but to teleport himself through time and space. Later in the game, we learn that he becomes Jacques de Aldersberg, a character who tries to stop the coming of the White Frost. To do this, he steals Witcher mutagens and tries to build an army of witches. It's a massive plan and ultimately it fails. Why it fails is a long story, but not the point right now. Here's where things get interesting. What if we combine the source concept with a Witcher? Imagine a character who is both a powerful Witcher with unstable magical abilities. Even if he couldn't perfectly control them or teleport at will, he'd still be an absolute force of nature. Now, what if he needed Ciri to help control or channel these powers? That could easily make him a prime candidate for the main villain of Witcher 4. Pretty cool, right? Of course, there are some issues. Since Letho, a Witcher, was already used as a major antagonist in the second game, CD Projekt might avoid repeating that. But still, a swordsman with raw power, possibly even capable of using magic at near Ciri levels, that would be epic. Picture it, a yellow-eyed villain emerging from the mist, blades drawn, facing off against Ciri. And if we tie this villain's bloodline to the Elder Blood, say he's one of the lost male descendants of that lineage, it could get even more interesting. Now, if you think we're done with the Witcher theories, oh, we're just getting started. Let's rewind to the massacre at Kaer Morhen, when a dishonorable mage riled up the peasants and led a brutal assault on the fortress, nearly wiping out the School of the Wolf. Most of us know Vesemir and a few others survived, but what if one Witcher survived, completely off the radar, and has spent years plotting revenge? Imagine he rises from the north, tearing through the land with a master plan, only to find Ciri, who has just arrived in Kovir and is trying to rebuild an ancient Witcher school. Suddenly she has a choice: team up with this Witcher and wreak havoc, or fight and defeat him, earning the title Daughter of the North. Let's pivot into something more bizarre for a second. In one Witcher update, we met a character named Reginald, a Witcher who was cursed through black magic and trapped between life and death. We know there were powerful witches in the past, and we also know there were mages notorious for black magic. So now, imagine a powerful Witcher brought back to life through dark sorcery. The fight Ciri would have with such a being would be intense and brutal. And if she managed to defeat the Witcher, she'd still have to face the mage who raised him. That gives us a layered conflict where Ciri battles both sword and sorcery in one dramatic arc. I dreamed up even more twisted Witcher villains, but I had to stop myself, otherwise I'd be saying Geralt himself ends up as the villain, and I'm not ready to go down that rabbit hole. Let's shift gears to a villain fans already know and love, Gaunter O'Dimm. I'll be honest, I see this as the least likely option. O'Dimm is just too powerful. The only way to beat him is through trickery, and I don't think that suits a final showdown for Ciri. Sure, he's terrifying, and I'd love to see him pop up again, but as a final boss, probably not. Maybe we encounter him briefly, but I don't see a full arc there. Now let's jump from low probability to a much higher one. The Witcher universe is shaped by a phenomenon called the conjunction of the spheres, when different realms collide, allowing monsters and beings from other worlds to enter. We've already seen this in Blood and Wine, with the Unseen Elder, a vampire who crossed over and became trapped in this world. He's just one of many. What if the next conjunction happens again? What if powerful beings from another realm start slipping into our world? Ciri, being well versed in this world's monsters, would find herself overwhelmed by creatures from an entirely new dimension. That's a compelling setup. It would shake the entire continent to its core and push Ciri to her limits. To me, this feels like the most likely option. A major magical event kicks off the chaos, and the new Witcher game revolves around restoring balance and training new witchers to handle the threat. Now, we can't forget the elves. They've been chasing the Elder Blood for years, and they're not ones to give up easily. One elf dies, another takes their place. Whether they're offering help or trying to conquer the world, they're always on Ciri's trail. In Witcher 4, I wouldn't be surprised if we see new elf factions emerge from other worlds or hidden corners of this one, drawn to Ciri's power like moths to a flame. I consider it a low probability, but definitely still on the board. And finally, let's talk about the most grounded form of evil, politics. In a world full of witches, monsters, sorcerers, and elves, let's not forget about the kings, queens, and warlords. Nilfgaard and the Northern Realms are always looking for leverage, and Ciri, as the rightful heir to Sintra, is a major pawn on their chessboard. They could hire mages, assassins, maybe even someone like Leo Bonhart to track her down. Ciri would be on the run, hunting monsters by day and dodging bounty hunters by night. This kind of dual conflict narrative could work beautifully, letting us experience both a personal and a grand political story. I can already hear some of you saying, Ymir just won't leave that girl alone. But hey, there are a lot more ruthless scumbags in the world of The Witcher than just Ymir. So yes friends, like I said, there are no solid clues about the villain of Witcher 4 yet, but now there's a video like this. Many more theories can be built, and I'm sure you're already cooking up hundreds in your own heads. Whenever we get the smallest detail, you know I'll be breaking it down right here. If you've got your own theories, feel free to share them in the comments and let's stir up some discussion. Until then, we wait patiently for Witcher 4. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.
There are no gods here. There are only monsters.